Has a love-hate relationship. There are quite a few people out there who love him. There are a great many more who hate him. And I happen to be one that actually likes him. He's weird. After I saw HCC 788's review on him, I just had to get him. He really struck a chord with me. I never saw him on the shelves, which led me to believe that he was a little more rare at that time. Like, you know, he was a single pack. You know, he came in a case and there's only one of him in there. But what can I say about this guy? He came with 3 accessories. He did make some media appearances. The only media appearance he showed up in was a Marvel comic. I cannot remember the issue, and I could not find that on yojo.com right offhand. I'm sure they do have it on there, but it's the same issue with the Pogo ball, the Cobra Pogo battle ball. Well, excuse me. They whack him out in that one issue, and for good reason. I don't really think that they could have gone further with this character, and if they did, I'm sure they would have gotten a lot of hate mail saying get rid of this guy. So he was released in 1987, I think as part of the 7th series. Let me double check on that one. Glad I double checked. As part of the 6th series, and he was on the shelves until 1988, and he was discontinued. This is an interesting character. He's weird. Excuse me, I'm coming down with a cold. He's weird, and that's why I like him so much. I like the weirder aspect of G.I. Joe, and that's why I also chose to review him for October. There are no variations of the Raptor that are known to exist. All body parts are completely original. Thank goodness. I couldn't imagine seeing his bird cowl on somebody else, or even his wings on somebody else. It just does not work. His original retail price was about $2.97. He is very available on the aftermarket. I saw a lot of them out there, and at reasonable prices. People just can't seem to give these away. So when I get into the pricing segment of the show, I will go ahead and share that with you. So without any further ado, I want to get into this Yahoo, and let's get this review started. Alright, here he is, the Raptor. He is quite an interesting guy. Let's go ahead and take a look at these weirdo oddball accessories. Oh, he came with an animal companion, a falcon. As you can see on the falcon here, it has a harness. So this was a trained bird. It doesn't have any feet. It's hard to find one with the feet, so I frankly don't care. He also came with this weird cape wing looking thing, and on the back there is a pulley system, so he could pretend to fly through the air. This is attached, it's glued together. So I did see one on the aftermarket where it was just the plastic part. So that's a good indication that the person just cut the wings off or pried this apart and sold it as a backpack. Now taking a look at Raptor. What can I say here? He, living in Arizona, I had an opportunity to attend a powwow. And he does remind me, no offense to the Native American population, please don't take an offense to this. He reminds me of an eagle kachina, with the headdress and everything. So that's all I'll say about that part. So he does have this bird headdress on. Nice red eyes, very ominous looking. They did a very good job on the headdress, and it goes all the way around to the back of his head. His head does move up and down fairly well with the headdress. He's wearing some sort of a medallion or a pendant around his neck. He tucked feathers into his gloves, believe it or not, as well as this side. And he has feathers sculpted onto his upper arms. And this is the part, I remember that, great six-pack by the way, but this is the part that really weirded HCC out, was the feathers on the back. And I have to agree, that is a bit creepy. This man needs to see a dermatologist ASAP. He does have a black belt that slings all the way around. And I like that belt buckle. The paint didn't rub off on it. It's in the shape of a falcon with its wings spread. He does have a sculpted on pistol done in silver. He has feathers that are strapped to his boots. And this is the creme de la creme. Down here on his boots, I hope you could see it. There we go. He has talons onto his boot, constructed into his boots. They're made out of that, or painted with that infamous silver, so part of them are worn off. Now this is a very weird figure. I remember him coming out while I was in the 6th grade, as I was going to go to a slumber party with a friend of mine. It was his birthday, and he said that's one figure he wanted for his birthday. And this was the same slumber party that I saw Nightmare on Elm Street. Scared the hell out of me. Oh, he did come with a file card. You see, it's been cut from the back of Raptor's card. Some nice art here on the front. Alright, codename Raptor. He's Cobra's falconer. Falconers are generally used not only for entertainment, but they're employed by airports. They'll have a falconer go out there and fly their bird around to scare the pigeons away, to keep, and other birds I should say, to keep it safe for the pilots when they take off and land. A bird strike is very detrimental to an aircraft. If you guys can remember that famous landing that the pilot Sullenberg made in the Hudson River, it was a bird strike that brought his plane down. And that man belly landed that airliner like a champion. I love that. That is some good footage right there. So the middle paragraph reads, Raptor was a yuppie tax consultant who took up falconry as a pastime and soon became obsessed with the avian blood sport. He discovered that by breeding bigger and stronger birds, equipping them with steel-tipped talons, they were capable of attacking much more formidable game. Yeah, probably also goes to chicken fights, this scumbag.
Caught poaching on a cobra mink ranch by Destro, Raptor joined the ranks by the Cobra Legions and began to work on developing a bird of prey strong enough to attack G.I. Joe. Excuse me, catch my breath here. Bottom paragraph, Raptor doesn't have any delusions about what he is, even if he dressed up in that bird suit of his and spends most of his time in a giant bird cage. There are means to an end, and the bottom line for Raptor, it is a non-taxable profit margin. Okay, so he's dressing up like this to serve Cobra, to get on Cobra's team, to make money under the table. I'll show you how this weird backpack thing works. Fits in the hole, no problem. It has thumb holes in which, hope you can see that, it has thumb holes in the cape. Let's go ahead and put his thumb around it. I found it works better when you twist his arm around, because his thumbs will not fall out. Go ahead and stretch the other one. This cloth is very durable, so you don't have to worry much about it ripping. And voila, you have a Birdman. No relation to the cartoon Birdman. All right. What more can I say about this guy? He is incredibly weird. Doesn't fit into G.I. Joe whatsoever, but 1987 started getting weird, started getting away from the more militaristic view, started giving us tanks with laser cannons and just a bunch of weird things. So Raptor is incredibly available on the aftermarket. I found him loose with no accessories for $8, $8.99 with the Falcon and no wings, $8.11 to $24.95 complete with file card, and $15 complete with a full card back. Now that those are pretty good deals, actually. If you want to purchase one, I would suggest that you do. I think he would be good for customization, or even if you're just a huge fan of say Falcon of Raptor. Don't want to insult poor Falcon. Buy them up. They're cheap right now. Also, I want to give this guy a rating. He's definitely not top shelf for me. He is down there at the bottom. Yeah, he's bottom of the middle shelf. Because I do like him, because he has great sculpting on him. That's why he got such a higher rating. And the whole thing of him being an accountant that loves birds. It seems like Larry Hama was really groping to write a file card for him, and I have a feeling that Mr. Hama did not like this character at all, and that would explain why he got whacked out in the first issue. And besides that, he would be a tough one to write about in a series of issues. So it's best that they whack him out. And besides, Cobra has Tomax and Zaymot to handle all their taxes and to filter their money through offshore accounts and create a nice slush fund for them. So trying. Now it's time for the scary segment of this program. Falcon here was not the scary part. I want to get that clear. Scary enough.
I have had multiple paranormal experiences throughout my life. And I don't know how many of you believe in the paranormal, but I'm getting good responses from those who do believe in the paranormal. And it's okay if you don't believe it. Oftentimes when it happens, I have a hard time believing it. When I was in the hospital battling my MRSA infection, my mom was home alone for those 20 days. She didn't want to tell me this to add more stress while I was sick, but when I got home, she asked me to check all of her cats and see if they were wounded in any way, shape, or form. And I asked her why, and she said she pointed to a blood spot on her bath mat in her bathroom. It was fresh. She said, I noticed this before I picked you up. None of her cats had any cuts on them anywhere. My dog didn't have any cuts on her. But it was blood. We had no idea where it came from. My mom wasn't hurt. I hadn't even been into the bathroom yet. She pointed out another spot on the wall that was dried blood. This other blood was fresh on the bath mat. Had no idea where that had come from either. It smelled like blood and it acted like blood. When I scraped it off, it flaked when it came off. At that time I was wishing that I had a forensics kit to where I could test it to see if it was real blood or not, but why would my mom fake something like that? She was scared to death. And she said, I am so glad you're home. She said, weird things happened when you were gone. She would set something down in the bathroom and looked at her like her hairbrush. She looked down and it was missing. She normally leaves her car keys at a certain spot in the morning, so she knows where they're at in the morning. They were moved. She justified that one of the cats had knocked them down and started playing with it, which could be. But they were moved. She said her TV would flicker on and off. And she would hear knocks on the wall every once in a while. But when I got home, that's when I started seeing more shadow people sitting back here in this room watching TV or preparing a video. I would see somebody do one of those numbers, duck around the corner, and I would just tell them to leave. I said, listen, this is my home now. Whoever, whatever you are, you need to go now. And they have to listen to us. So if you ever run into a situation like that, just tell them to go away. And if you pray, prayer never hurts. Ask for protection. So since then, the blood has never shown back up. This personally happened to me. See, I got sick in July. This happened in about August, September, June, or May, I should say. At night, my G.I. Joes would fall from the shelves that I have up on the wall. Now, I have them securely fashioned up there. I use the double stick tape with most of them. They would still fall, pardon me, detached from the tape. And it was always the ones that were I'll show you. Put the camera screen around. We're always the ones from up here. And as you can see, those guys are securely up there. And even the ones here and here. The ones on this board you can see have double stick tape. I took some of them down for a diorama, but these would fall off as well. It always happened at night, and I would hear a loud bang, and it would scare me to death because most of them crashed into my command center, which, for those who own it, you know the type of plastic that it's made out of. Even with the slightest fall, it lets out a bang. Even if a Joe just drops, just falls over, lets out a loud bang. And I couldn't figure it out. I was looking around trying to debunk everything. Oh, maybe, when the air conditioner kicks on, it blows them over. No, it wasn't. I couldn't even blow them over. Just using my lungs, the wind power from my body, I could not blow them over. So it just got worse after I went to the hospital. But all of that is resolved now. And this last story happened during a family reunion in Ohio. This was 1980. And there was one particular aunt that I just did not like staying with. I love her and my uncle to death. They're very good people. I just didn't like staying there because their house was really creepy. And I always had to sleep in the basement. Didn't like it one bit. Tried to sleep with the light on, but my Aunt Judy would come down and tell me to turn it off. So one night I woke up. The curtains were open, allowing some of the ambient light to come in, and I see this cloaked figure standing by my bed. Took off the cloak, and its eyes were shaped like stars, and they were bright. You see that? Getting the chills. There's no BS. Scared me to death. I run upstairs. My aunt and uncle, cousins are still awake. I was still relatively a toddler at the time. And I told my aunt and uncle what had happened, and they started laughing. They said, "Oh, that's just your cousin Kelly playing a joke on you. Go back to bed." Didn't feel like it was a joke. Not the ominous presence that was in there during that time. Didn't feel like a joke. Wasn't until several years later that one of my brothers told me he saw the same thing down in the basement. My aunt still lives in that house. My cousin lives in the basement. He's going through a pretty bitter divorce, so he's staying with her. And my Uncle Fred had passed about 2 years ago now. He served in the Navy, so he got a very nice military burial. He served on spy ships, so he did a lot of eavesdropping. He never talked about his military career at all, and it wasn't until my adult years that I found out that he was in the military. His job was to be kept top secret, and I'm sure it is still kept top secret. So, just telling that story, it freaks me out a bit. Just remember the acrid, nasty, moldy smell that came in with it. That's one thing I forgot to mention. When it appeared, I could smell mold, decay. So, I hope you enjoyed the review and my ghost stories. 21 more days, 22 days left until Halloween. I hope you are all safe and prepared for this wonderful holiday.